What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel, Pax Perry. Hope you're doing well. So I got a question the other day on a comment on my YouTube video talking about the 5x5 Novice program that I put out. It's definitely not a new program. It's been around, a progression scheme that has been around for quite some time, but I think it's the best for a novice. Now, I'll probably make videos later on discussing different training programs and everything that you could do as a natural bodybuilder and as an enhanced bodybuilder, if that's what your cup of tea is. So the question was, my problem with 5x5 is that I don't know how to progress on it. Can you please explain the progression scheme? Also, what volume should someone do for the accessories? The accessories, I love those. So, just making sure it's still recording. So there's a couple ways to progress on a 5x5 type of program. Now, this is a full body program. Either you can run it 2 days a week, 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 5 days a week, maybe 7 days a week if you're that special type of person. But you won't be able to progress every workout if you go over 4 times a week, I would say. Now that's a general rule of thumb, because unless you are taking a shit ton of drugs, which I never advocate, I don't do that, I'm on TRT. That's a different discussion for a different video. Why am I talking about that? I want to be transparent with you guys, so I think it's best to just say all the variables, everything. Who does this apply to and who can this help? Because my passion is helping people. My passion is spreading the truth and doing OnlyFans, of course. What I would do if you're starting on the traditional strong lifts type of style 5x5 program, I would first calculate your 1 rep max, depending on what that is, on each of the compound lifts, so bench, squat, deadlift, and overhead press. It's not going to be entirely accurate unless you actually do your 1 rep max and know that for sure. So without accounting for other variables, and to keep this video as simple as possible, start at 55% of your 1 rep max. So you're doing a whole new program. This is the program you want to run. Whether you are novice, intermediate, or advanced, this can work either way. So start at 55% of your 1 rep max, 100 pounds on your bench, just for example. I'm sure a lot of people can do that. So if you're starting at, for example, 100 pounds on the bench press, 55% of that is 55 pounds. So that's where you start the program. The next week, not the next workout, and I can explain why I would recommend progressing over a week as far as poundage goes, or kilos. So the next week you do that same workout, you are going to add 5 pounds to that bench press. Lower body lifts, like the deadlifts and squats, 10 pounds the next week. You're starting at a very low threshold. And there's reasons for this. Whether you've deloaded or not before this program, if you did deload, I would say start a little bit heavier than 55%, because that's super light. You're basically doing a deload week the first couple of workouts a week, couple weeks, maybe 2 weeks, depending on where you start. So I would recommend starting at 55%, so 60 pounds the next week, and keep doing that each week for each lift. So this would apply to overhead press, deadlift, squat, and bench. I wouldn't necessarily add weight to your accessory lifts. Let's say you're doing incline dumbbell press. Incline dumbbell press is an accessory lift. Or you're doing single leg hamstring RDL. Something that's that you would have to use a lighter weight for that. I would just progress in the same way with reps. So the next workout or the next week, depending on how you feel and what you can do, you got to be the judge of your body. I don't know your body. I know my body pretty well, and I know what I'm capable of, and I know what I can handle. So I would add, let's say you're doing 3 sets of 10 for the first week on incline dumbbell press and accessory lift. I would add, I would wait on adding the weights for a later time. I would add 1 rep each week. So try not to get ahead of yourself and do 3 more reps or 5 more reps if it's too easy for you, because later on that's going to come back on you. So when you do stall on this type of program, I would recommend taking 2, maybe 3 steps back, depending on what the status of your recovery is. So there's systemic fatigue and there's localized fatigue. And those are the 2 things that you will get from training very often and training with high volume and progressing over time. So I would just add reps for your accessory lifts until you're doing 15 reps, maybe 20 at the maximum. I don't really like going over 20, but if you want to go up to 30 reps, that's totally fine. I don't see a problem with that. I would just add 1 more rep, and when you get to 15 or 20 reps, whatever your maximum is for you, for the total amount of reps in one given set for that accessory lift, then I would add 1 more set. Or if you're already maxed out on sets, let's say you're doing 5 sets, and everything's too easy for you, then I would just add 10 pounds or 5 pounds, depending on how far down the program you are. So that's what I would do. I hope that was a simple explanation. That might not have been simple. I'm so sorry if it was too complicated. I do have 2 programs on my website, paxboy.com. Those are a little bit different than this type of program. It's more for the aesthetic bodybuilding side, although you can be aesthetic on this Novice 5x5 program. There is no way in hell that you won't get jacked and shredded depending on your diet and your training level, how experienced you are. There's so many variables. There's sleep, which is the most important. There's food and carbohydrates, I would say, is the second most important. And then there's emotional fatigue, and that can be from your work or other people, or just seasonal depression, for example. That gets really complicated and probably beyond the spokes of my knowledge. So I hope that helps. I really hope that helps. I might have to just redo these videos over and over again until I can get it right, because I'm kind of new at YouTube. But I feel like YouTube is a great place to get knowledge out. And I don't like people that scam other people and hold back the truth and lie about things. And I know that is the majority of the fitness industry, unfortunately, and that's how it always has been. But I will continue doing these videos for free, and I will continue answering your questions, so be sure to comment down below. And if you like this video, like the video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.